Everyone. Thanks for joining in today. Happy to be here and glad we're able to connect on this. So my plan for the day is we're going to walk you through a little brief overview of all of our resources. And then the second half, I'm going to kind of circle back and give you some thoughts for how to get started using various resources. This PowerPoint is uploaded somewhere on the conference website. I haven't gone to look to see how that works. As well as there's a one-page overview that just describes our variety of resources. We do have multiple websites and mobile applications. And the reason we have this variety of tools is because they all have different purposes and functionalities. And so that's my hope is today, by walking you through all these tools and resources, you'll have a handle on what looks most immediately useful to you, and that you can begin using them right away. As I mentioned, we do have a variety of resources for educators to help using our tools. We have lesson plans that we'll go over briefly, and what we call quick starts, which are some activity guides, and I'll show you where those are also. We have a number of hard copy student guides that actually are in their final phase of being edited and updated, but they'll be posted on our website very soon. We have a number of student web tools and 3 student mobile apps, 2 of which are linked with 2 of our websites. Our main location for educators is our homepage, which is here at californiacareers.info. This is where we have links to all of our resources and mobile apps. We have links to other related resources and some videos to provide introductions to our tools. But today I want to focus on giving you a little bit of a background on what we call quick starts and lesson plans. So we have a whole set of lesson plans posted, which are intended to both help you engage in students using our resources, but we also pull in federal tools like Career One Stop and ONET. Our hope is that by engaging students in this process of career exploration and discovery, that they'll not only learn how to use our resources, but how to use these other federal tools that'll be available to them for their lifetimes. And that by going through these lessons and processes, it'll give them a nice head start on figuring out their career goals and career plans. Sorry, I was going to tell you something about the other website. So this is all on our homepage. This is all there for you. All of the lesson plans are posted in as both PDFs, but more importantly, we post them also as Word documents, because we work with all aspects and varieties of education. And so we're not sure if you're working with a small special ed group or a larger CTE group or an English class. So we posted them so they could be adaptable to whatever situation you find yourselves in. And again, I will tell you a little bit more about those in a bit. We also, on our homepage, home website, have a number of what we call quick starts. These are simply 1-page or maybe 2-page little activity sheets, and a way for you to introduce students into using our resources. We're going to look at the Career Center. The CareerZone has a quick start 1-pager, but also a workbook, or 2 workbooks actually, for working through the site. The Career Surfer mobile app, the My Stuff Career Action Plan CAP app, and My Stuff Job Central app all have a 1-pager, and then we're going to have these 3 PDFs. And I'm going to highlight the first PDF here, Exploring Career Options. A number of years ago, we were asked to provide some kind of an offline experience that educators could use with students to introduce them to career exploration. Could it be a place where there's just limited internet access, or it could be with younger students. So what we currently have available is this Exploring Career Options workbook. As with all of our resources, it helps guide students through those questions of who are you in relationship to the world of work. uses the quick interest inventory to help them figure out their interest code. Then they look at where are you going in terms of occupations that might be a good match. And so what we've done is gone through and in each of the interest areas listed a variety of a number of occupations available by different levels of education, whether it's a community college degree or a 4-year degree, work, some kind of certification. Then there's a section looking at how do you get there in terms of education and training that students might need. And so we've listed beginning in junior high for a variety of occupations, things that students could begin doing in middle school to prepare for an occupational direction. How do you succeed looks at the standards for career ready practice, and then we introduce them to the idea of creating a plan. So again, that's a hard copy workbook that is currently available on our CalCRN home site. Now I'm going to move into talking with you a little more about student-facing resources. Again, there's lesson plans to help you use these resources with students. The California Career Center is what we like to think of as a virtual counselor, in that it's a resource for young people. Again, this is another tool we were asked to create for students, whatever their setting, where maybe they're in a rural school or very large school and maybe have a challenge getting access to adults to help them figure out many of these issues, but also want this to be a tool to support the work of whether it's teachers or counselors. So the one big piece of the site is the element where it says content. So we've got information on programs and opportunities they might find in high school, ways to explore career options, just some very basics about getting a job, post-secondary education and training, challenges as for young students or for students who face challenges in their own life in addition to just trying to navigate adolescence. So whether it's a migrant young person, someone in foster care, we've got resources that we've identified for them. Then money management deals with looking at financial literacy. And all of this is supported by kind of a variety of videos, some that we've created to help use the tools, and some that are career-related videos from other sources. The other big piece of this site is My Stuff account. So we have 2 websites actually that have student accounts. As when a student sets up an account, it will never expire. We never close out accounts. Students can set them up. Again, in theory, hopefully after they're 13, can begin using them, and then they can keep them for as long as they want into young adulthood, into any phase of adulthood, as they maybe continue on their career journey and want to come back and review some of what they've experienced. So the account, and I'm going to go over in a little more detail elements of the site. But basically the My Stuff student account looks like this. This would be the landing page. So they'd be able to, there's an explore where the site kind of populates pages for them to look at if when they signed up, they said they were interested in getting a job or joining the military or going to a 4-year college. The high school plan is just a very simple template to help them think about what they can do beginning in middle school to be successful in high school. The correction plan, I'm going to look at in a little more depth later. That's our online and mobile post-secondary planning tool. Job Central is a place that they can create resumes or master job applications. Documents is, I think, probably an underutilized aspect of this site. They could actually set up their own e-portfolio. The only limit for the e-portfolio under documents is each item can only be up to 2 megabytes, which may have some challenges depending on the item to be uploaded, but they can upload as many as those that they want. So if they don't have some kind of an e-portfolio, the My Stuff student account documents is a great place, a great resource to use. As I mentioned, we do have a number of mobile applications, and 2 of them link back to the resources I just mentioned. We have a career action plan on the website. Also, the My Stuff CAP, standing for Career Action Plan, is the exact same tool. students can, as long as they download and set up the mobile app with the same login information as they did for the website account, then they can develop, revise, download the correction plan from either their phone or their mobile apps, and they get edited in both places. Job Central is a little bit newer tool. So my stuff, Job Central, is the mobile app. And again, if students have set it up with the same username and password for both the mobile app and the website, Job Central enables them to create a resume, as well as a master job application. And the website also includes some templates for business letters. But at the current time, the mobile app just has the resume and master job application. And I'm going to show you some shots of that so you have a better idea of what that resume and master job application might look like. We also have the Career Surfer mobile application, which is just a standalone. It's not linked to any of our other resources. And basically it uses all of the same ONET job information that is on our California CareerZone website. But this is a standalone mobile app. So it provides the interest profiler from ONET, all of the occupations from ONET, text-to-speech enabled, and they can search in a variety of ways. The descriptions are much briefer than you would find on the CareerZone. So it really is intended to be just kind of a get started introduction to this idea of occupations and careers, with the hope that students might stumble on something that they wouldn't have even known of as an occupational option. And they can search in a variety of ways, typical like keyword or by income. They can also just choose surprise me, and the site will just do something based on minimal information. Or if you're on your phone, they can just shake their phone. Now, of course, if they get veterinarian for shaking their phone, then you get to help them figure out what it takes to become a veterinarian. But again, like, we're trying to just have a little bit of fun with this work to try to get them thinking about ideas and potential futures. So that's the Career Surfer. Our most commonly used resource and most recognizable is the California CareerZone. Many of you may have already been making use of it, and hopefully you keep up when we update a variety of things. We haven't done anything significant this year with the CareerZone, but I can tell you, for those of you who already are using it, we are, because of all of the requests from teachers and young people over the years that they've done something on the site and then lost it because they had not set up an account. We are going to shortly, the developers are working on this, we're going to require students to set up an account in order to take the interest profiler or develop the budgeting. And the reason for that, again, is to ensure that whatever they do does get saved and is available to them. And again, that account will remain theirs as long as they want to keep that account. It will never expire on our end as long as we exist and provide this resource. So the CareerZone does include 4 different assessments. The quick assessment a student could take without logging in, but the key assessments, the interest profiler, work importance, and skills, a student would need to log in and take those, and then the site would save them. Make money choices is kind of a lifestyle budget creating activity. And the cool thing is, once they've done, for example, the make money choices and interest profiler, the site begins to help them see, well, which occupations match my interests as well as pay the budget that I'd like to earn someday. Explore industry sectors. We've taken all of the ONET occupations and organized them under California's CTE industry sectors and pathways. Really, I think still the only resource that provides that option. And so if you're working with a career pathway or some kind of partnership academy or whatever that has a particular industry sector, students can explore occupations in that sector. Their account is called the Career Hub. They can save assessment results. They can create resumes, journals, It has the feature of downloading a summary report, and I'm actually going to show you that later. And they can search for jobs, including apprenticeships, internships, jobs. And also to support this, there is a free Educator account. So the Educator account is also available to an educator as long as they want to have it. The only real limitation, because of our own capacity and the limits to our resources, is each educator can only track 50 students, but they can track 50 at a time and add and drop students. If you link with a student, and I'll show you this a little bit later, and then drop them, it does absolutely nothing to their account. It just means you can't interact with them through the CareerZone anymore. But the other, I think maybe even more important reason that it could be helpful to set up an educator account in the current time is we've added a number of training modules to help you understand all of the features in the CareerZone and know how to implement them and use them with young people. So it really is easy to set that up, and I'll show you a little more about that in a moment. But I think now we're ready to jump into helping you get started. So I guess I could ask Carrie if anything came up that you thought might be a pause for a question here. I am going to go back and look at all the things I've been talking about, so may answer questions. But
no questions in the chat yet.
I am doing such a great job. Thank you. Hopefully that means it's all clear to you. So what we're going to do now, as I said, is we're going to look at these core resources of ours and give you some thoughts on how to get started. So on our home site, we've got the 45 lesson plans. At the beginning of the pandemic, we took a little step back and worked on a couple of lessons for the world of distance learning. And we've got more in the pipeline, but right now we have 2 lessons that have been adapted for distance learning. There's one, the matching interests and careers, is for an online activity. It uses the California CareerZone to engage students in thinking about interests and careers. We've got a lesson with an offline activity that uses that Exploring Career Options workbook. So those full lessons are available and posted on our home site on the lesson plans page. And they're the very first lessons that you're going to come to when you're exploring that list of lessons on the site. So again, it actually serves kind of multiple purposes. It's a way for you to begin using our lesson plans and understanding how they're set up. It also is an easy way for you to begin using the CareerZone with students, or an easy way to begin using the Exploring Career Options workbook with students. So again, available on the californiacareers.info, our home website. The next resource to think about would be getting started with a student using the California Career Center. So the suggestion here would be to engage students in creating a career action plan. Career action plan is simply our terminology for a post-secondary plan. And in order to create a career action plan, they need to set up a My Stuff student account on the website. They can optionally also download the My Stuff CAP mobile app and set that up. And then to start, would recommend logging into the online account. As I'll show you in a moment, there's detailed directions, and then they can simply create and submit a plan to you. So what would happen is the student would go to the California Career Center. This is the student account landing page. So when they're logged in, this is what they see. They choose career action plan. And the career action plan just walks them through the steps of exploring occupations and figuring out the requirements for entering that occupation, finding schools, finding where to get the education and training, just everything they would need to create a plan and pursue an occupation. If they click on under Explore Occupations 1, you'll see there are 2 options. One says directions, one says video. If they click on directions, they get this view which includes complete directions for how to do that step. And this is available for each one of the steps. The video provides a little overview of what that section's about. But again, basically what a student does in terms of working through the site is they explore options, explore occupations by using the CareerZone interest profiler. They explore occupations by doing the Make Money Choices activity in the CareerZone. They choose an occupation to explore. They learn about what it takes to enter that occupation by using the Occupational Outlook Handbook, which just has a great amount of detail about how to enter into occupations, not just four-year college occupations, but two-year certificates, credentials, all kinds of occupations. And I really like it. It gets as specific as information if you need a driver's license. So anyway, we use the Occupational Outlook Handbook, then they use the CareerZone to explore post-secondary training and education options, and then follow. It's easy to see when you go in and look at the site and take a look at what's available on that app. To get started with My Stuff Job Central mobile app. So this is the app where a student can create a resume and a master job application. So, sorry, I'm rushing ahead too much. So this is both using the Job Central website and the Job Central mobile app. So a student would, again, set up the My Stuff Job Central account. They would download the Job Central mobile app, log in, could either log in online or on the mobile app, but recommend online, and then create a resume. This is a newest resource, and one nuance with this is even though it's kind of linked with the Career Center, in order to provide it with the functionality that I'm going to talk to you about a little bit, we had to give it its own domain. So students could, or you could have students just go directly. You'll see at the bottom of that page where it says https://www.mystuffjobcentral.org. And then that would take them to the website where they can create a resume or a master job application or any of the 4 letters: informational interview request, a cover letter, a reference request, or a thank you letter. Now, the resume and the master job application are kind of linked because it's the same information that a student is asked to upload. We have created the resume with high school students in mind. So we're not asking them how many college degrees or advanced degrees or military experience they have, because we're pretty sure they're not going to have it. So it was designed and created to help them think about, for example, experiences. So what kind of experiences might a high school student have? Maybe not even ever had a paid job, or maybe they had. But the site, each of the sections of the site looks similar to this experience page, where I've opened up the drop-down menu for help tips about what we mean by looking at experiences. And then they can load as many experiences, work activities as they want. All of those will be saved on the master job application. But because the master job application intent is really to put as much of your work-related experience and education and skills as you can possibly think of. So they're readily available when you apply for a job, but the resume, is much more limited. So they can choose which experiences or education or skills to hide or show on a resume. They can add and delete. And actually you can see on this page where they're asked to put in the role and the title. And then there's actually the supervisor's name and phone number generally don't show up on a resume, but they're available in the master job application. So if the student gets asked to provide that in a job application, they have a ready resource to get that. When they're in the site and create a resume, on the view send print page, there's actually 3 options. The student enters as much information as they can, and then they can choose from one of 3 styles that the site will format for them. They can download that as a PDF. They can also publish that resume online. They do have the option when they're creating the resume to just show their city and state, but not the address. A lot of professional resumes don't even look for addresses anymore. And so we do have that little privacy feature. So to publish a resume online, the student, you can see here where it says your shareable resume link. The site generates a link. The little tag has my John MC. I was able to use, there's a pencil right next to the link. And so a student can, the site generates a link that has letters and numbers, but they can add their own name at the end. They can actually, as experiment this the other day, they can modify that link tail end so they could post multiple resumes. And they can also view their master job application. This resume can only be saved as a PDF, but they can save multiples. I should have said when they do the correction plan, they can download that as a Word document, modify it, but the programming required to support a student in creating a resume means this is just available as a PDF. And I do see, Carrie, I think the chat box lights up when someone has a question. So maybe a number of questions, but I think we'll be in good shape with more than 5 minutes for questions. This is the last resource I'm going to show folks. And then when I'm done, I'll leave the certificate screen up while we're going over questions. So as I mentioned, the CareerZone is our most used, most popular resource. Students can set up a free account, keep it forever. Educators can set up a free account, keep it forever. So to get started in using it, one would recommend the educator set up an account, then have the student set up an account. They would complete the Make Money Choices budget tool or activity. They would complete the interest profiler. And when they view the results of the interest profiler, the list will show not only occupations that match their interests, but it'll also have a little piggy bank to show occupations that also match their budget. And then they can submit a summary report if you want them to share back with you. So I've got some little illustrations of that. So basically on the California CareerZone website homepage, before logging in, there's an invitation for a student to set up an account, also an invitation for educators to set up an account. So where it says get started today with a free account, register now, that's the same initial entry point, whether you're a student or an educator. The student login is a 1-step, the educator account is a 2-step. So okay, just got my out of order on my slides, I think. So if you set up an educator account, this would be the landing page looks different than the normal home landing page. This is inside what we call the career hub. So it's a career hub, whether you're an educator or a student. At the top navigation bar, there are management tools, including the educator code, the account showing how many users you're tracking, the option to manage users or to manage lessons. You can create some lessons, and then the profile. So the educator code is the way you would link with a student. In the middle of the page where it says John's stuff, you can see that I've started working on some of the assignments where it says complete assignments. It's also noting that I had started a budget and also completed the interest profiler. So this is the CareerZone Educator account. Again, the real key feature that's relatively new, I think, is the Career Hub. I mean, the professional development modules to help you use the site. And then on the far right, you can see where it says educator code. Again, that is the code that you provide a student. So this is the educator account. When you have a student set up an account, their account looks very similar to the educator account. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm kind of zipping too quickly. The educator account, as I mentioned, is a 2-step process. So when you choose register now, whether you're an educator or a student, you'll be taken to the account setup page, which just asks you very basic traditional account related information, although we do try to figure out what schools students are in. And if you're an educator where you're setting up your profile, if you indicate counselor or teacher, I think are the two options, and also use a school domain email address, then you'll get a prompt to set up a CareerZone educator account. For a student, they just have the one-step process. They would choose register now, and then they would enter in the information needed to set up the account. You can see that their account looks very similar. The big difference, there's an option that says share your progress. That would be where that educator code would be entered. That would then link them to your account. I'm going to show you what happens if they choose I want to, or if they choose the summary report. First, if they choose within their stuff account, if they choose I want to, they can navigate to all of the key locations in the site. They can get directly to the interest profiler, the work importance profiler, the skills profiler. They can take the make money choices, budgeting activity, create journals, create a resume, create a cover letter, build a reference list. Anywhere in the site, if they're looking at a post-secondary option or an occupation, they can rate it up or down. They can actually create a course schedule, manage assignments, or look for a job. So all of that is available to the student inside their account with I want to. They can also choose to create a summary report. As I mentioned, there is the option in your educator account to link to a student's account to see what activity they're engaging in and what they're completing. But in case you don't feel the need for another account, or maybe have more students, at any point a student can choose to print, which creates a PDF of their summary report. And the summary report would include the results of their interest profiler, the work importance profiler, or the skills, provide some cluster matches of occupations if there seems to be a cluster of preference for the student searching. It'll show occupations that match the assessments. Students can again rate options, create plans, create journals, create budgets, create the course plan. All of that they could share with you by downloading this as a PDF and sending it along. And I know, that's a lot, isn't it? I have trouble keeping it all straight in my own head, as you could tell. But hopefully having the PDF, and whenever this video gets posted as a refresher, again, our resources are our California Career Resource Network home website, the California Career Center, My Stuff Job Central, our mobile applications, and the California Career Zone. If you download either the one-page handout or the PowerPoint, the best way to reach me nowadays, and you can reach out at any time, is to email me at jmerris, JMERRIS, at cde.ca.gov. I do respond to emails. I'm on emails way more than I'd like, I suppose. And do try to remember to check my office phone number there. But seriously, I do respond to emails, and I'm glad to provide any kind of follow-up that might be helpful. I'm going to leave this screenshot for you. The idea, if this is your first workshop, is to just take a picture of this so you have verification that you engaged in this workshop. And now, Carrie, it looks like I believe the chat box was lighting up with some questions, and it's funny, it pops up, but then I don't seem to be able to see it. So
It was popping up, but we just had some questions about whether you were going to be sharing the resources, and we had someone actually go ahead and share the PDF files that you linked in Sched. And then we had another comment in the chat about that these resources are awesome for special ed students. So just some comments and other things. If anyone does have any other questions, though, feel free to put them in the chat. And while you do that, I'm going to be putting in a link for an evaluation for today's session. So please feel free to give some feedback about the session that we've just been in.
and thank you for being the proactive crowd with sharing the resources, and thanks for the comments. So I don't know, another one did just pop up. Maybe that was a question. What happens if I try to click on that? Oh, look at that. Oh no. Oh,
And as
okay.
John mentioned before, please do make sure to take a screenshot of the slide that's up right now, just to make sure that you get any credit that you need for being a part of this session.
And I seriously, I'm very serious about the communication too. So if you email me, we can either communicate by email or glad to have a phone call. Nowadays, since I'm sitting in front of a computer at home all the time, if we need to do a training with some groups, it's pretty easy to set that up. And so just glad to follow up on any way that's useful to you. And I should also say, I so appreciate what you all are having to deal with out there. As a state bureaucrat, of course, I'm just I'm just hanging out. But you all, in engaging with your students, anything we can do to be helpful. And I should have said too, we're also always open to feedback. Of course, we do like to know that tools are being useful. So those comments are great, but we also know that sometimes we find mistakes or maybe need clarifications. So if you ever have suggestions for things we could be doing aren't, or things we can improve, not that we can do everything, but we're always glad to get suggestions for improvement. Oh, do I need to stop sharing so you can put up that evaluation thing?
No, I linked it in the chat for everyone who's interested. I'll put in the link one more time as well. You can continue sharing, and if anyone has any questions, again, feel free to put them in the chat and we will be happy to answer them. At this point, I will stop the recording though.